Okay, I'm going to show you a shortcut on figuring out when a radical equation doesn't have a solution. Here's how the shortcut works. First, let's solve this. Let's find the solution for this one. So I'm going to go through this really fast because I've shown this before. I'm going to square both sides, so I get x plus 3 is equal to 144. And then I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and I get my solution is x is equal to 141, right? And then at this point, I'm like, oh, that's probably the solution, but I better check it because Mr. Benson said to check it. So I'm going to check it. And so I'm going to take this square root. I'm going to put the 141 right in for that x. So I get square root of 141 plus 3 is equal to negative 12. The square root of 144 is equal to negative 12. And then I got the square root of 144, which is 12, is equal to negative 12. And therefore, this is not true. So this wasn't a solution. This 12, or this 144, was not a solution. Okay, but you could have just looked at this right off the bat. Or maybe not this one you could look at right off the bat and known that it wasn't a solution. And here's how. Here's how. Once you get the radical by itself on one side, see how this radical is by itself on one side? When it's by itself, what you know is that this has to give you a positive answer, right? Because the square root of something cannot be negative. The square root, I'm going to say it one more time. Ready? The square root of something cannot be negative. Okay? And right here we have the square root of something, and we're saying it's equal to a negative. But if the square root of something cannot be negative, then this cannot have a solution. That's what I'm trying to tell you here. So you got to keep your eyes out for that. Now, the key thing though is some students think, oh, I can have, if this square root of x plus 3 minus 13 is equal to negative 12, and right here you see it's negative 12 right away, and you're like, oh no, this one doesn't have a solution because it's equal to a negative 12. Well, no, we don't have the square root by itself yet. We have to add 13 to both sides, and when we do that, we have the square root of x plus 3 is equal to 1, and now it's equal to a positive. So the key thing, you got to get this radical by itself on one side, and once you do, if you notice it's equal to a negative number, just say, oh, no solution. Mr. Benson was just trying to trick us. So that's a shortcut, and you can use that shortcut to make your life a little bit easier when you're solving some of these problems, okay? If the square root, just the square root or the fourth root or sixth root, it only happens with even ones. The square root or the fourth root, I'll show you what that looks like, or the sixth root is equal to a negative number, just you know right away there is no solution. Okay, so that's a trick here. In the next video, I'm going to show you how you can just use a graphing calculator to solve these, especially if you struggle with algebraic manipulation.